In this lesson, we're going to learn how to find the length of a leg of a right triangle using the Pythagorean theorem. So recall that the Pythagorean theorem only deals with right triangles. The legs are the sides that create the right angle, and the hypotenuse is opposite of the right angle and always the longest length. So the first thing is always write down your formula. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Then we're going to define our variables. So here we don't know what A is, but we know B is equal to 12 and C is 13. So step one, define your variables. We don't know A, we know B is 12, so we're just plugging in the values that we know. Now, once we've plugged those in, we're going to solve. So I'm going to do my calculations. 12 squared is 144. 13 squared is 169. We're trying to solve for A, so we must isolate A. So we're going to subtract out 144 from both sides. We're going to undo the square by taking the square root. And my A value is 5. So this leg has a value of 5. Example 2. We don't have a picture, but they just go ahead and tell us what is given. So let's write our formula. Remember, it's always a great idea to write your formula and have it in front of you. So my A value is 8, and the formula says to square it. We don't know B. Our C value is 14, and we're going to square it. So now let's do the math. 8 squared is 64. 14 squared is 196. We're isolating B. We're going to subtract out 64. We're going to take the square root of B squared and square root of 132. So you can see that 132 is not a perfect square. I'm going to use my calculator. We could estimate like we learned how to do in Unit 1, but with this unit, you can use your calculator. We're going to have the square root of 132, and that gives me about 11.489 and so forth. We're going to round to the 10th, so we'll have 11.5. Example 3. An 18-foot ladder leans against a 15-foot wall. Determine the distance from the foot of the ladder to the bottom of the wall. So here's our picture. Here's our wall. It's 15 feet. Our ladder is leaning. I'm going to assume it's leaning to the top of the wall. And it wants to know the distance between the foot of the ladder and the base of the wall. So we're looking for, we can just call this A, we can call this B. It doesn't matter if this is B and this is A. The legs are interchangeable. So again, here's our formula. And we're going to plug in. My A value is 15. My B value is what we're finding. Our C value is 18. And now we're going to do the math. 15 squared is 225. This is why it's really good to have memorized at least your the first 20 perfect squares. Subtract out the 225 from both sides. B squared is equal to, what do we have here? These are 324 minus 225. That gives us 99. We're going to take the square root of both sides. And B, again, it is almost a perfect square. It's almost 100, which would be 10. So I would say this is about 9.9, but I'm just going to use my calculator. But that's my best guesstimate. Yes, 9.9 is the answer. So B is about 9.9, almost 10. Now you guys try these examples.